What's up, guys? Dabrewski here, back at it again today. Today we are going to work on the Civic, of course. Today I really want to get the car off the jack stand, so in order to do that I need to make those radiator brackets I was talking about on the bottom, and also I need to chop the exhaust and weld it so it fits better, and I'm also going to put a flex pipe in there. It's a beautiful day today. Finally we're getting sun. It rained a little bit earlier, wow, but we've got blue skies and we've got the sun. Alright, so the issue that I'm having right now is, you can see this is where the header ends up, and then this is kind of where the rest of the exhaust is. We have about maybe an 8-inch gap right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the cat right here and pull it forward, so in which the cat is actually closer to the header, so it quiets it down a little bit more right away, so it's not as muffled. And then I'm just going to have a little piece of pipe essentially right here instead of just filling in right there. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to chop the exhaust right now probably about right here, and then move it forward. The cat is still in good shape. I was a little worried that it was clogged, but it's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld it straight to the header. You can't really see. I had to lap it a couple times just because the material that was on the header is thicker than what was on the actual cat, and the cat kept on just popcorning and popping off, and I was like, so I turned down the welder a little bit and then just made a couple of passes and it did good. Alright, so now that I got the cat welded to the header, I need to put a flex pipe in there. Every exhaust should have a flex pipe. If you don't have a flex pipe, the car moves around so much and the engine will move so much that eventually it'll either break a weld or it'll break your manifold at a weak spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this old flex pipe off of the old headers and just run that for now until I get an exhaust. Just really important, just so you know, always wear eye protection and ear protection. The eye protection is pretty self-explanatory because stuff can fly into your eye and mess you up. And ear protection. Two things that ear protection does. One, it quiets it down. Loud noises, you're not really meant for that. Your ears will get damaged, and who wants to be deaf when they're old? Not me. So I'm going to wear these. Another thing is it'll keep stuff from flying into your ears. I don't know how many times I've welded and have like slag just fly into my ear, and it's super scary for one, and two, it's super dangerous because if it burns out your eardrum or causes any damage in there, it sucks. So just wear earplugs. Even if you're just welding or doing whatever thing, just protect holes in your face. Now that I got all of the catalytic converter and that flex pipe tacked onto the headers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbolt the headers from the car, drop it down, pull everything out, weld all the way around it so it's, you know, actually sealed perfect, put it back up to the car, bolt it up, and then weld it to the rest of the exhaust. So it started raining again, and as I got everything into the garage to continue with all this, it stopped raining and the sun's coming out again. But I'm just going to do it all in here, so let's just get it done. Alright, so for now I got the exhaust done. It'll be fine, I mean, for what it is for now. Got the header, got the cat, and then got the flex pipe on. So it should be pretty good. Now I'm going to get my helper to help me install it, and we're going to put it on right now. I just about finished welding the exhaust. The only thing left is I'm gonna have to drop the rest of the back section of the exhaust so I can push it down as far as I can and weld the top of where the flex pipe was, because I can't take the whole exhaust out of the car. I mean, I could, but then I'd have to deal with like trying to get the headers, everything lined perfect. So just doing it section by section is so much easier. So I got the exhaust finished all the way up until the axle in the rear, so there's no muffler still on the car. But I figure I'd just start her up and see how much quieter it is now that it has at least a catalytic converter and then maybe 8 feet of piping. there's no coolant, so I can't keep it running in there. Now what I'm gonna do is, you guessed it, I'm dropping the car down. For now, I'm trying to move the car just forward and back, see how it moves, maybe even just drive it around a tiny bit. The only thing that's wrong with it right now is that the throttle cable, there's no way it'll work. This bracket is not for this car. Let's see if I can get zoomed in on that. So basically what's going on is, here's the shift, or that, not the shift, sorry, this is the throttle cable. This bracket, even if I turn it around, there's no way it will fit onto that, just because this isn't long enough to where it needs to sit with this adjuster. So what I did was I just got a little piece of steel and I cut it into a V shape, and then I put a tiny bend in there just to give it some structure so it won't bend on any kind of force. And then I kind of narrowed out this edge a little bit more. So now I'm just going to put this right here, drill a hole into it, put a 10mm bolt, have this one, have this bracket on backwards, and then just have one bolt and nut sit on there. Finished up that bracket just now. I ended up just using one of the bolt holes, and then I just welded the other bracket to it, as you can see right there. The welds look so bad on the camera. Oh well, doesn't matter. It holds up good, and it has no play in there at all, and I already tested it on the car, and it's perfect. Everything is perfect on that. So now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna try moving the car back and forth just a little bit, just to see how it feels. There's a few things that are loose in the car, and there's no coolant, so I can't let it really run for a long time, but enough to at least go forward and backwards, because this is like, the anticipation's killing me. Well, there it is. It runs and moves on its own power. I'm excited. Now I'm gonna do the radiator. Alright, so I got those tabs cut off where the radiator mount used to be. You can see there's a little bit left right there and then a little bit right there. And what I did was I grinded down these rails a little bit so I can re-weld these mounts back on there. Ground off a little bit. Essentially this one's going to sit right here, and then the other one's going to sit right here on this side and hold them in. So I got the radiator mounts done. Those are all done completely. Got it inside the car, the radiator mounted. I don't know if you can kind of tell in there, but I welded them up. And yeah, right there's a weld. And then right in there's another weld. Right now I'm just using like a stock EG mount to hold it in. It's actually really sturdy. That radiator's not moving at all. I got good clearance from the headers too. Well, a lot better clearance than I thought I would from the fan. Other than that, it's almost done. I drove the car a little bit, just in my driveway, back and forth, and it feels good. So tomorrow I'm gonna just clean up the whole engine bay and try and see if I can mount that power steering bracket, or mount the power steering itself. It's almost done, and the car is on the ground.